Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka, and this is PUBG Mobile, and today we're going to be breaking down grips for you in PUBG Mobile. Now, I make that point specifically because PUBG Mobile borrows a lot from PC, but it is a different gameplay style, and there are different positives and negatives to playing with particular grips in PUBG Mobile, which I'm going to break down for you. Now, if you want to know the absolute specifics, ins and outs as they occur in PC, then you should watch someone like Wacky Jackie. Wacky Jackie is my favorite PUBG YouTuber, and if you're not subscribed to him already, then you're probably doing things wrong. So a lot of what you see here is going to be work that I'm basing as empirical from the stuff that Wacky Jackie has done, because he's an amazing dude who does a lot of testing, and like me, he kind of loves the numbers. But that's not what I really want to break down here for you today, because that stuff's already out there, and I'm going to show you some graphs, I'm going to show you some numbers, I'm going to talk to you about what's best, and I'll get out of the way right now my opinions. Best for spraying, half grip. Best for single tap firing and SKS, vertical foregrip. If that's all you needed, then happy days, you're on the way. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more nuance, and there's a lot more variations in a theme with the grips than you would possibly believe. One of the things, firstly, that you have to think about is you don't always need a grip. You can get a perfectly good recoil pattern and control it with a gun like the M16A4, as you can see there, or an AKM, because something that you don't get out of these bloody recoil pattern tests that people put up where they do 30 bullets in a row on a target is you don't get the... No one... If it takes 30 bullets for them to die, they're hacking or the server has desynced you. What do I mean by that? Well, take a look at this clip and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'm going to hit this person 18 times and they're not going to die, and that's not my fault. It might not be anybody's fault. They're either cheating or the server has lost connection to me and I'm not getting the same feedback from the server that that player's getting. But you can see what I mean. That's 18 shots hit. That's a full clip. Any normal player would be dead so far before that it doesn't matter. Which brings me to the thing that really annoys me about these tests, where people go and they stand on the shooting range and they fire off 30 bullets in a line and they say, you can see here that this is an extremely good grip for controlling vertical recoil, because look, that line is smaller than that line. If they're not dead in the first 5 or 10 bullets, you can't shoot and you're doing it wrong. The time to kill on a level 2 vest for a Groza is 0.223 seconds. That is 0.223 seconds. The time to fire off an entire clip on a Groza is 2.23 seconds. So that is 10 times the time it takes to kill a person in a level 2 vest. Even if you're missing every second bullet, you're still doing it wrong. So when they come onto a range like this and they put a grip on or a grip off and they get a baseline by going all the way up the bloody target, all you're doing is highlighting a situation that never occurs in game. No one stands there and just holds the trigger down. I'll give you one final analogy. You're looking at a brand new motor car and you want to know what car is the best car you can possibly get to drive your kids around the suburbs to and from school, pick them up at footy training, take them to swimming, and you grade them out based on the fastest time that the car can get to 200 kilometers an hour, and you get a Ferrari. That's not what you use the car for. So why are you even looking at the stat? And if you are standing still and firing up a wall, then you're not the player that you think you are. This is how I fire at people when they're within 10 meters. I'm strafing like that, side to side. And if they're 30 meters away and they're shooting at me, I'm still doing that too. And I'm burst firing in 5-round bursts because... Oh, well, I'll get to that in a second. That's the big secret here, really. That is the big secret, is recoil control and improving your gun handling. So let's talk about real stuff, things that are really important and why you need to know them and how it's going to help you play the game. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that different guns have different requirements for performance. For instance, an AR, the first 4 or 5 shots with an AR are very controllable. It's why the SCAR L, the QBZ, guns like that are actually excellent, because you'll get like 5 very good shots that go pretty much straight up. Now, horizontal recoil is the toughest thing to control. You can influence vertical recoil, because vertical recoil is only going in one direction. The big problem with the AKM, for instance, isn't that it just goes straight up so fast. It's not it at all. You can control that. It's that while it's going up, it's also got mad horizontal recoils going left and right. And you can't control a recoil that is going in two different directions. You can try, and you might get better at it, but you're still not going to be able to macro handle that. And that's why guns like the QBZ and the SCAR-L are so freaking great, because although they don't have the punching power of a 7.62 round, they are quite capable of firing out for 10 rounds with a half grip and not going off the reservation. So number one for me for spraying is the half grip. Now this is for ARs. SMGs, it's pretty much the same, but you may find little variations on a theme. Number two is the angled foregrip. It has less horizontal recoil control, but it has some and has an ADS benefit. Third is the thumb grip. Now the thumb grip is interesting because it goes across all the categories as a reasonable choice. Fourth is the vertical foregrip for me. It's about the same as the thumb grip, but doesn't have the ADS benefit. And fifth, and definitely last but least, is the lightweight grip. Do not use that on a spray gun unless you've got no other options available. It will improve, but not a whole hell of a lot. Let's talk a little bit more now about single tapping. There's three grips that I would hazard a guess you would be looking at here: the lightweight grip, the thumb grip, and the vertical grip. The vertical grip is best for guns like the SKS. There's no way around it. Or for single tapping out with M416 or a SCAR-L. Or you don't want to be using that gun though, really, with your SMGs. I mean, if you've got no other choices, that's where it's at. The lightweight grip is purely and simply only for single tapping. If you use it for anything else, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. The thumb grip is quite versatile. And if you're using a gun like the M416, the thumb grip is actually a pretty solid option because it is not the worst in any category, and it's middle of the road in two of them, i.e. for bursting and for single tapping. The thumb grip is actually pretty good. It's got good vertical recoil control. It's got excellent ADS speed. Those are important things to have when you're running an M416 or a SCAR-L or anything you can put an attachment on. Even say a UMP or something, you can get a little bit of a benefit from that. So I would certainly look at that as a very solid option if you're only running one single solitary weapon. You want it to be able to cover off on a lot of different situations. But the ADS speed, it must be noted, is not as beneficial if you're not playing claw or mouse. It's very, very easy to go to scope and still move around and shoot at the same time while you're clawing. You can see in the top left side of the screen, when I pull my weapon out here to shoot this fella, I see that I have just next to my jump button at the left of the screen there is a scope. And I can press that very easily with my left index finger while still aiming and moving around and jumping. If you're a thumb player and you're not using the claw, then that benefit, the ADS benefit that you're going to get from the thumb grip, is far less valuable, because it means you've got to stop what you're doing with your right hand and tap and zoom in to actually get a hold of that. It's just not going to work. By the way, that little tip and trick there, if you want to chuck a smoke gren right on top of you, just hold it down until it explodes. I mean, that should be fairly obvious, but a lot of people don't do that. So if you're an ADS lover, then aim down scope lover, then you're going to get a hold of the thumb grip. Otherwise, for just plain old safe as houses vertical tapping, you've got the vertical foregrip. The lightweight grip is actually excellent in that and here we go, like this is with a vertical foregrip. Look at this. I'm at 5 meters because I'm swaying and moving in. It doesn't matter what grip I'm using. The first 5 shots are all I'm hitting him with. I'm bursting out with the first 5 shots all the time, and that gives me control over the weapon. I mean, it can't be overstated that the biggest impediment to good gun handling is someone that can't bloody aim. Gee, that sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? I want to take that to be a little lower. I want to talk about burst firing now. And this is where I want to show you a little graphic. Now, this is courtesy of the Reddit Pubg group. There's a lot of people over there that do amazing work, and this is all them. That's the Reddit Pubg Battlegrounds and pubg.gamepedia.com. Beautiful people. These rate these grips for PC from 1 to 5. Now, the reason I don't go by this as the absolute gold standard for us as mobile players is because we just don't use mouses. Unless you're running an emulator or hacking or doing something like that, the recoil system is so much more difficult to deal with using your thumbs than it is to deal with using a mouse. Particularly burst firing. Burst firing involves lifting your finger off the keyboard, off the iPad, and replacing it there. That's what it involves to burst fire, which means that when you lift your finger up, if you're a thumb player and not a claw player or a mouse player, and place it back down, you're not moving the gun, okay? Playing with a gyroscope is different again, and it's such a wild world for us as mobile players to describe and take the best single solitary item. So I would change this around. For me, burst would be, again, half grip, angled grip, because those are the things that help you with horizontal recoil. And then I would go vertical foregrip, thumb grip, and absolutely last, light grip. Now, the reason I make that statement is, watch this. This is firing someone at like 50 meters away. ADS down scope. Now let's go back and look at that one time quickly. And by one time quickly, I mean incredibly slowly. Watch how many shells I fire, or whatever you want to. Watch how many rounds I fire. And this is a target that's 50 meters away. I'm a claw player, so for me this is important. I'm going to ADS down scope very, very quickly with my left index finger by tapping the button on the top left side of the screen that is my scope, and then I'm going to burst fire that target using my right index finger. Now that's important because I'm not taking my my thumb off the screen here, so I'm able to very, very conscientiously work on controlling the recoil and keeping the reticle directly over the target. All right, let's get to it. Now you watch the ADS occur. There's the target. I spot him. My ADS occurs instantaneously. That's like 50, 60 meters away at least. Then I'm firing and I hit the target a bunch of times. I stop firing with 11 rounds gone. That's like a 10-round burst. He's already gone. Okay, I fire again, but he was already down after 11 rounds. He was down after 10 rounds. What is the point of knowing how far the gun is going to go recoil-wise after 30 rounds? It's hilarious to me. If you teach yourself to fire in bursts like that, then heads up, you're going to be using half grips and angled foregrips. And if you're not, then you're probably doing yourself a disservice. There are still a lot of things to explore here, and I'm going to do a video on recoil control and different weapon loadouts and how many different nuances on this whole thought process there are. And I don't think any of this, to be honest, is empirical. Just because I say it doesn't mean it's right. Get out there and get a feel for what works for you, because I know my good mate Swiss Cheesel runs angled foregrip on everything, even for single tapping, and he loves it for burst. And I think that he's wrong, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work for him. And one of the best things about PUBG Mobile, indeed a lot of video games, is the complexity of them nowadays. The fact that you don't just get the vanilla option that always works for everyone. For me, it's half grip. It is half grip all day long. For you, I know Maverick Chin, another guy on the channel here, he loves the lightweight grip for single tapping and won't go to a vertical foregrip. He's all about the lightweight grip. And that's fair enough. And you should make your own decisions based not just what I'm telling you, but what you find to work for you in the game. Because it could be that maybe you've only been playing a little while and you need all the recoil control you can get over 25 rounds. Or that, like, here's the thing. When you first start playing this game, you will spray so much more, because what you're doing is you're hoping that the gun just knocks them down for you, and you're holding the button down, because that's like playing roulette. You're on the roulette table and you're going, well, if I'm holding the button down, then I'm still in the game. There's still a chance that the gun's going to do the job for me. After a while, you'll learn that you can do the job yourself by controlling the weapon and not letting the weapon control you. And the best grips to do that are certainly available out there. If I had to pick one grip to run all the time, it's going to be half grip. But it's the worst grip for single tapping. If you're single tapping with a half grip, then you're getting no real benefit out of it. So that's why we run ARs, because they're versatile weapons. They're able to do a lot of different things. And a gun like the M416 or the QBZ or the SCAR-L or the AUG, they can certainly get the job done running, say, an angled foregrip or a thumb grip across many different engagement types. An SKS, you only really have a very, very limited choice of options. And for your SMGs, I mean, if you're using SMGs to single tap, you're doing it wrong. Like I feel that is pretty empirical. There is no way you should be doing that. That's a bad thing. I hope this was good for you guys. I hope it was something that... Oh, there's my mate Turd Ferguson over there, by the way. G'day, Turd. You grub. Look at this. That was a headshot saved by the bloody tree, and I think the tree saved me from his headshot as well. We both got a little bit of unlucky tree love there. If you're running SMGs and things, just take something that's going to spray. They need a lot of shells to hit for them to be effective. Even in these last final circle moments where I'm full of adrenaline and I really want to win, I'm still knocking them out inside the first 12 or 14 rounds, even though I'm pre-firing and spraying my absolute nuts off. Like, that target went down in 12 rounds, 11 rounds. And the next target to win the game actually goes down in 10 rounds again. I start pre-firing around this tree because I know where he is. But you can see that's from 34 to 24 is the damage. That's where it gets done. It just gets wrecked. This is my opinion, guys. You've got to work the numbers yourself. You've got to get out there on the battlefield and see how it works. But I'll tell you, my opinion is the best grip in the game right now is the half grip. And if you want a grip across all different situations, then a thumb grip or an angle grip will probably be something that you can work with. And that could change because we might get some numbers. I'd love to get some data mine numbers from PUBG Mobile that are legit. The numbers and things in the apps and the tooltips, they don't always tell the right story, but they do at least give you some broad definitions to work with. I'm Bushka. Look after yourselves, and as always, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.